Hey folks, this is Ben Gessel. How's it going? So this is a. I had to double check something here. The title of a movie I just watched. This is a review of Never Back Down 3. That's a Never Back Down 3 with Michael J. White. Funny thing is that the first Never Back Down movie is involving, I don't know, older high schoolers, and it's kind of like a Karate Kid type deal, but definitely more intense, in my opinion. Second one is involving, for the first time in the movie, Michael J. White. Um, and it's kind of a coaching movie, and it's pretty good. And Never Back Down 2 more directly relates to Never Back Down 3. So with the whole series, Never Back Down 1 is a little bit more on its own. It's a bit more of a separate kind of deal. Uh, with Cam Gigande and I can't remember the other guys, but anyway. So, and then Never Back Down 2 has Michael J. White and some other guys. Never Back Down 3, again, is the one that it's come out, it's been out for a few years. So, it's true, I do have an interest in martial arts. I'm not necessarily the toughest, most athletic guy out there, of course. But I'm definitely no wimp. I could definitely hold my own. With people, uh, we'll just say I could probably take out the majority of adults, but I don't think, I'm trying to think in those terms. But there definitely are some folks that are more physically dangerous than me. But it's just, yeah. Um, I don't, I don't fear being assaulted. I'll put it that way. Unless we're talking about weapons, that sort of thing. But I can hold my own. But that being said, but I should mention one other thing. I'm not really that good. It's just that most people aren't really. Anyway, so yeah, it's okay. So this movie here, well, Never Back Down 3. Of all the people that are in Hollywood that are fighters, um, Michael J. White is really one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most dangerous, most legitimate fighters of any actor. I mean, I'm hard pressed to think of. I mean, thinking of like the top 10 best martial artists and toughest fighters that are also actors. And Joe Rogan is a comedian, so I don't really include him as an actor. And Joe Rogan is good. I don't know if he's quite in Jai White's ability range, but he's good. Not really all that far away. Joe is pretty stinking good. He's just sometimes it just comes down to, again, it's like a weight thing. And Joe is stocky and short, but Jai White could take him, I think. But Joe would do some damage, I think. But yeah, I mean, like, look, it's Bruce Lee, but he's in a smaller weight class. I suppose you have, again, Chuck Norris and stuff, but and you have Scott Atkins and Jason Statham, right? I'm sure there's probably some others I could name, but Michael J. White is one of the toughest, definitely. And he's also, I think, one of the most. It's just, I don't know, like he's got a lot of pretty good, I mean, awesome qualities. I'm not saying he's the most amazing person that ever walked on planet Earth. Of course, it's more like Jesus, but uh, he's, it's I have a lot of admiration for Michael J. White. Anyway, that being all said, this is a really good movie. It's better than the first one, which the first one was pretty good. It's pretty good. It just had some bad acting. I won't say who. Anyway, And the second one, Never Back Down 2, was also pretty good. But this one just knocks it out of the park. And this one is really, really good. It leaves the other two in the dust, in my opinion. It just it involves Michael J. White. Well, his character he plays. I think it's Case. I can't remember his last name, but anyway, the whole story. It's definitely worth watching, but even worth paying a little money for it. It really is an amazing movie. I had seen short little things about it, and little snips, and I was like, you know what, I want to see the whole thing. Of course, it's true. We try to find it for free, even if we shouldn't do that. It's not free, folks. Sometimes you just have to deal with it and pay a few extra bucks, to watch it. And again, this is one of those movies that actually is worth the money you pay for, which is, it's definitely saying something for movies that are out there, which most of them aren't worth the money you pay for. This one is. This one is. It's got one little moment of not so great stuff, but other than that little moment that isn't very long, you're basically just talking about martial arts violence, which is, anyway. So, what else can I say about this movie? It's just can tie into some other thoughts I have here. I'm sure we all have things in our life that we feel like we're fighting against, or we're trying to win, right? We're trying to come out on top, and some of those things that we've fought, or we feel like we fought, we lose, and you can't win at everything. I mean, look, Jesus himself suffered for everybody's sins, so it was kind of like he felt at the time, like, yeah, there was no winning feeling he had when he was suffering for sins. I'll put it that way. It was only after he had suffered for sins that then he went through all the ordeal being on the cross and stuff. No human can withstand suffering for the sins of I don't know how many people who lived, and then dying like that. That's insane. So everybody that's ever lived has at least lost something, some battle. Nobody's always been victorious. And if a person ever has always been victorious in every battle they ever fought, you tell me who that person is, and I'll point out something about that person that, or something they lost. They lost something, someone, something that they wanted they couldn't have, or whatever. I'll point it out. It's something as simple as, it just depends, but so this idea of winning and losing, I really think is a big deal in this movie. Maybe Michael J. White didn't really intend it to be this way. I know what he mainly intended it to be. Martial arts involves not only kind of becoming more, having mastery over your body, it also involves, because you're talking about matches and tournaments and fights and things, you're talking about winning and losing. And that subject can go very deep. Very, very deep. First off, in a fight or in a match or in a game or whatever it is, in some kind of competition or something more serious that involves some real struggle, we want to come out on top. Otherwise, it has to be something, the more that something means, the more that thing means something to us, has more value to us, the more we really want to come out on top. We want to win. So, um, in a fight, you know, there are as you know, there's various reasons for wanting to win a fight. In the Rocky movies, he first wanted to prove that he was a real fighter. He's a good fighter, fighting Apollo Creed. And as you go on, it was, became a what? At some point, it was, avenging the death of his trainer in the Rocky movies. And then Rocky 4 became avenging the death of his buddy Apollo Creed, right? And then so on and so forth, 5 and 6 and all that stuff, Creed. In the Never Back Down movies, um, it's more of a high school situation. But, it kind of turns into something more um, no, I don't know if it was personal, but yeah, it was like the Cam played a really good villain in that movie, so it became this thing where it was just between me, well, just between the main character and Cam's character, who's the bad guy, like just this, you know, thing they had, and yeah, the thing is that the main character of that first movie, I hope, I know some spoilers here. I do apologize. Watch at your own risk. Sorry, but the thing about is that he got the girl well before in the first Never Back Down. He got the girl well before he ever fought in the last battle. Well before. I mean, it was just like it kind of became a nice secondary thing, but it was still kind of secondary to him needing to, um, the showdown between the school bully and the new kid, right? And that's really what came down to. In the second Never Back Down, it was a little more complicated than that, but it's a good buddy movie, I suppose you could say. And the third one, it does get to the point where it's about there's some legal things going on at some level, sure, at some point, but it's more about is this um, need for justice, not really revenge, kind of, but it's like a form of justice. I really think that, again, Never Back Down is 3 is the best. Again, the reasons why the characters are doing what they're doing, just everything about it is just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But again, this concept of winning and losing is a big deal, whether you're talking about martial arts or music or any kind of competition. So personally, in my life, I've won a school spelling bee before. I know what it feels like to win something, get first place, right? Um, I've gotten other places like in Pinewood Derby things and whatever. I won. I remember winning a cake when I was in first grade, a cakewalk thing. A while back, won a little trophy for like a putt golf thing with my family. I got a hole in one at a very, very hard um, hole, and yeah, got a trophy. Um, I've been first horn, principal horn, in college. I know what that feels like. It's been great. Um, I'm sure there's lots of other times where I've gotten first place where I've won something, right? Um, just a lot of memories about life in general. Um, it feels great. It feels great to win, or second place or third place or whatever it is. If it always, no matter how small the win is, no matter how small it always feels great, right? So what happens when you don't win? There's a lot of places sometimes in some competitions. Well, and there's all the other things like what things not going your way and stuff. Maybe that's a little bit different subject. But what happens when you lose? You know, what happens if you're humiliated by an employer and they fire you for They think it's legitimate reasons, but no, they're not. What happens when you're wronged by somebody? Uh, and I'm not just talking about fights here. I'm talking about just relationships, and you know that you were in the right. Mostly, right? A lot of times it's a little more complicated. But what happened? There's, I don't know. What happens when you give it your all, something, and it doesn't quite go the way you want it to? What happens when you lose a fight? And by fight, I mean more of a vague term. It doesn't have to be a martial arts thing. What happens when you lose face? What happens when you are defeated? You're made fun of. You're made to feel smaller, weaker, less skilled, all that stuff. So what really happens? You don't die. If you die, you pass on to the next life, whatever it is. So if you're not dead, right, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But I'd also add to that, we don't know what happens after we're dead. So, that part of that statement isn't always exactly true. The statement again is whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I would just add that by saying, everything makes you stronger until you get to a point where you can't become any more than you've become. It has to do with human potential. If you've reached a human spirit in the afterlife, say, has reached the point where they have gone as far as they can go, and they can't go any farther, and that they're not going to heaven. I'm going to leave theology out of this, but they're not going to be in heaven. They've gone as far as they can go. Right? Well, that's the ultimate defeat, right? They've gotten as far as they can go, but they're not in heaven, right? Yeah. How not cool is that? Can't even comprehend it. So, human potential, it's limitless. But we don't know what happens after death. So, I'm just going to say, until the last judgment, everything helps you. Everything encourages you to become a better person. Unless you decide not to become a better person, right? But yeah, these experiences we go through, the experiences in life we go through, good or bad, pleasant or unpleasant, they're all meant to give us experience. Experience. An old person has experience. A young person doesn't. Older people can help younger people with regard to sharing their experiences in life, what they've learned. This is why, even though an old martial arts sensei or whatever, even if they get really old and they're not quite as quick or as strong and as physically dangerous as they were when they're a bit younger, and we're talking a lot of old guys are still pretty dangerous, pretty powerful, but no, it's not always how good of a fighter they are, or certainly not their prime anymore. It becomes, what do they know and what can they teach younger martial artists? They've been through a lot of fights, a lot of stuff. I would think, if it's a legitimate martial art, or if it's I don't know, I don't know. They've been through stuff. They know stuff that is worth sharing to younger people. If it's a martial art worth pursuing, or whatever, it's a legitimate dojo. Because the McDojo won't have that so much. You'll have somebody who is kind of a pretty pathetic to a respectably okay fighter, and they're just watering down everything, and that's different. But anyway, a little tangent there. It just again, winning or losing. It's nice to win sometimes. That means, the thing about winning and losing is it's nice to have things go your way sometimes. It could be just one thing out of thousands of things. It could be something as small as um, somebody that you like said hi to you, and that could make your day. It could make your week, especially if you have romantic feelings for that person. But it's you never know what's down the road. But winning and losing, joys and sadnesses. I really think Never Back Down 3 has this other side to it. And maybe I'm reading into it too much, or maybe I'm thinking about this in a way that Jay White didn't really go this direction. But what if he didn't win that last fight? I shouldn't spoil this movie too much, but what if some things hadn't gone his way? Now, I'm glad the last fight did go his way, of course. Um, but, there are a lot of people that are taken advantage of by people every day. It's a fun movie to see, Never Back Down 3. But if Jay White was listening to this conversation, listening to what I was saying, I think he would know what I'm talking about. Everyday people, you guys watching this video, you guys are going through crap, a lot of you guys. On some level or other, you guys are going through some crap. Be it smaller crap or bigger crap. It's no fun. It's in some cases it's miserable. I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not pleasant by any stretch of the imagination. Um, so does that mean, what does that mean? What does it mean that you're less of a person? Does it mean you're evil if you go through crud? Does it mean you're without worth? When someone embarrasses you and ridicules you and makes you feel inferior to them, does that mean that you're of less worth? If you have a piano recital or some kind of musical competition and somebody beats you or you didn't win, does it mean that you suck at that instrument? That you're not very good? What does it mean? What can you learn from it? If you want to get better, how do you get better? Do you want to get better? And maybe what that means is, if you're doing a million things, maybe it's not music, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's dance or art or something in this, in sports or something else, anything. If you've ever felt like you're not good enough or that you've been defeated, how much do you want to win, or how much do you want to at least improve? How much effort is that going to take? Is it worth the effort, or do you want to go a different direction and do better in this other area? And what do all these endeavors add up to? How much value does it add to your life? What is it really doing for you? It really, it's interesting because you have guys, I'm sure you have people out there that at some point, if they made tons of money and they're retired, um, if earning money has been the main thing in your life, and you're about to die, about to lose it all, you can't take it with you. I don't know what that feeling would be like, but I imagine it can't be very pleasant unless you've also lived for other things in your life. That, So yeah, everybody in our life, everybody's life, everybody's experiences, right? They all add up to what? Life. And all these experiences we have will do what? Well, they'll give us experience. It's what we're here for, is to have experience, to learn, to grow, and to choose between good and evil. So if someone never wins or never has anything go their way in their life, well, does that mean that that person is not worth anything? They're worthless? No. You know, again, it's so satisfying sometimes to at least do well in something, to win something sometime. Some small thing. It can matter so much to some people when they experience so many heartaches and uh, defeats and trials and things, difficulties. Just one small thing going your way is really can make a big difference sometimes. Just a reminder that everything will be okay at some point, right? If it isn't right now. So you have people that maybe do win more often. They whatever they're doing, everything goes their way. That's wonderful. That's great. That really is. Some of these folks, they might get to a point where it'll have to be the next life, I guess. Where some people have to have a rude awakening when they realize that all their victories and all their things that they've done well in, what will it amount to compared to things that might have mattered more in life? I'm kind of looking at myself. None of us are blameless, but like, there are people though that will be in for a very rude awakening in that regard when they have worked so hard to be so elite in something, and maybe they have neglected other things. And there's always a trade-off. If you the more elite you are at something, well beyond advanced, if you're elite, virtuoso, professional, master, um, you know, grandmaster, if you're internationally recognized as being one of the best people in your field, that takes a lot of time to get there and a lot of effort, and many people never get there, or at least never get. It's just a question of how, I guess, you get. But yeah, I mean, it's time, and there's only so much time in life, and they can feel like they've won in regard to how good they are, but what does it all mean, especially in the next life, or when you're at your deathbed? What is it going to mean? If you've lost everything you've ever done and nothing's gone your way, when you die, if you have good character, you're going to take that good character with you. If you die and you have not good character, you're going to take that not good character with you. So what does it help a person? Again, this is the quote from Never Back Down 3, which really is a big quote. What does it profit a man if he gain the whole world but he loses his own soul? What does it profit a man if he gained the whole world but loses his soul? That's the scripture. It's just so thought provoking. Gaining the world and losing your soul. We sometimes envy billionaires because they seem like they own the world. Well, I certainly hope they still own their soul. Their soul's in good condition. I don't know. I wouldn't know. Well, it's not. I don't know. You always have your intuitions and things, but life is just not what we sometimes think it is. And if sometimes the people have had to go through the most crap, that have the most to teach, and have had the most growing experiences because they've gone through the most crap. If you never have certain experiences, how can you know when someone has those experiences what they've been through? You can be empathetic, but and so again, some experiences we shouldn't have to go through, that they're not worth the pain. But that's another subject too. So but some things just happen to us in life. We don't always know what is going to happen. We try hope for the best. We don't. We certainly don't like unpleasant things to happen. But these unpleasant things, when they do happen, will help us become better people, I think. When I look at my life, and there's some things I can still fix and do better in, of course. But I am not the person I was when I was in my 20s, certainly not the person I was when I was 10. I can handle things that are tougher. I can. I can. I understand a lot more things than I used to. That's a good thing. It means that my life has been meaningful. Um, because hard things bring meaning to life. So whether or not you win a fight or you win a competition or you win or whatever, it's not always winning that gives you experience, which is the main thing you need in life is experience. Uh, there's other things, that matter, of course, in life, like relationships and righteousness and learning and all that stuff. But experience, it's all experience, and this is what we need. Everything will give us experience. Everything from something as simple as knowing what a certain fruit tastes like, all the way to, I don't know, like, I don't know, anyway, just think of something that's very, very meaningful in someone's life, having your parents die, that would be stinking hard, especially if you're younger. That would have a profound effect on someone's life sometimes. But anyway, so I think in essence, the answer to what is the meaning of winning or losing in life is kind of brought into perspective when you think about you want to put in your best effort at what you're doing, right? You want to prioritize your time and make sure you're not involved in too many things, but you want to put your best effort into something. That's the way to do things the right way. So in addition to putting your best effort into something, whether you win or lose, whatever happens, you're going to gain what? Experience. Again, it's nice to win things. It really is, and it actually is food for the soul. But it all boils down to the meaning of life. Catch you there. Bye.